Hello guys, today it's a very special episode for the Adventures Lair. Here with me I got Alain Seguin, an animator. He recently got known for a short film about Conan the Barbarian, The Elephant Tower. We going talk about this later, but first I want to introduce Alain. He was a senior animator in the new Looney Tunes movie The Day the Earth Blew Up and Space Jam 2. He wrote a book called 52 Tips for Animators. He is working in the short trailer-like film for the Lovecraft The Mountains of Madness. We'll go and talk about this too. So, Ellen, welcome to the Adventures Lair. Thank you for accepting the invite. Please introduce yourself.
Obrigado, obrigado. See, I gotta use whatever Portuguese I know, and I know hola and obrigado, and that's all you're getting. I'm Canadian. What can you do? No, that's a really good introduction. I'm a huge, I'm very, very passionate for animation, and I've been in it for almost 30 years. It's crazy to
Oh,
think of it that way, but I've been in it since like the late 90s, right? And
nice.
you know what? I gotta tell you now, while I'm thinking of it, what got me into animation is I went to the movie theaters to see Aladdin, and I was just a
Oh,
teenager, right? And I'm going, oh my God, look at this thing. And as soon as Jafar starts manipulating planets
oh,
and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
I go, I can be involved in this world. I'm doing it.
Yes.
So that's what made me decide to, you know what, I'm going to commit the rest of my life to
Hmm.
pure imagination. So that's my real origin story right there is Aladdin.
Oh, yeah. My first question is, tell us about your journey, how you became an animator.
Yeah, wow. So yeah, there was that. And like it's funny because when you're a kid, you love Ninja Turtles, you love He-Man, you love all this stuff, and you're like, only other kids could possibly make this because it's too cool, right? Adults are not cool. It's got to be kids. But then you find out, oh no, wait a minute. None of the kids I know are that good. They're not able to do that. So, oh, it's a whole discipline. And of course, I've been drawing the whole time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm practicing my skills, and my brother is also really good at drawing. And so by the time you're a late teenager, or that was a late teenager, I was going, okay, it's really something I can jump into. Uh,
Hmm.
so that made the decision for me. It's kind of weird because when you have a skill like, or you're practiced at something, you're really good at something, you tend to lean into it, right? So I don't know that I could have been anything else because I was drawing my whole life, right? It's funny because I applied to the university for psychology and I got in, but then simultaneously I got in at college for animation. I'm like, do I want to mess with people's heads or do I want to tell stories
And mess
to,
with people's heads.
to mess with people?
People's heads. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll go with the story route.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's really what I decided to do, and it's a risk, you know. Like I didn't
Oh,
become
yeah,
a
yeah. Yeah,
lawyer
yeah.
or accountant or something, and those are great jobs, but it's like it's a huge risk to rely on art for your job.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to after college to land a job at a commercial agency in Montreal in Canada, and so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this job. I'm gonna have to move to another city. It's a big adventure, and then I start drawing like Toucan Sam. Actually, now that I'm talking about this part, there's a lot that went to South America. So tell me if you recognize some of these cartoons, these commercial animations. So I've done Ganzito, I've done Penguinos, I've done Pancho Pantera. Like it was going to Mexico a
Oh,
lot.
yeah, yeah. Pedro Pantera, I know who he is, but not
Yeah,
for Brazil.
there was Bimbo Bread. No Bimbo Bread.
No, 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 not.
That's a stupid name anyway.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The reason I think it's stupid is that in Canada, bimbo means like, you know, a
Uh,
slutty person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this the differences of names in the countries because I think you're going to find very funny the names they choose for some of the characters here.
Oh my God, I can
Yeah.
imagine. But yeah, just to finish that up, as I moved to Montreal and I started working, and commercials, let me tell you, is like a boot camp. It's not
Yeah.
normal animation schedules. It's like
Yeah.
boom, 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 go, go, go. So
Yeah.
I did that for like 17 years, just
Mm.
totally training my discipline, my speed. I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but it was. I feel so privileged to have that behind me because it made me a more solid and quick animator, actually. So
Here in Brazil, the animators who I talk to in interview, they say today we have places to study to become real animators, but before 20 years ago, you're going to do marketing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And I'm wondering, do you guys have a lot of animation studios in Brazil?
we have actually we have some. We have one who's going to become very big. It's the Split Studios.
Okay, I think
Yep.
I've heard of that. Is that
Yeah,
is that?
and we are exporting work because many places the the new kids don't know how animated old school. Here in Brazil, you have to go 24 frames, then you
Yeah,
go to computer. So
yeah,
it is the base. You have to know how work hard and later learn other things.
yeah. I would say that everybody who has an interest in animation should definitely start with drawing first. It's not a necessity, but I think it helps you find the pose. It helps you with the
Yeah,
appeal of it.
yeah.
There's a lot behind drawing, and if you can at least try to practice that before you go into 3D, I would recommend it because it lays down a good foundation.
Yes. Can you tell for us some of your favorite cartoons and animators that inspire you?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I think the big one that you probably would recognize would be Batman the Animated Series,
Yeah,
right?
it's in the list. He is. You make sequence with Batman and Clayface. One of my favorites fighting. Wow.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So like, I remember growing up, and I was still kind of a teenager when it first came out, and there was an episode where it was Batman. I can't tell you exactly which one, but it was a Batman. It was on the train, okay, and there was not a single line of dialogue. It was all action based, and it was all him going through the train and progressing down the train. And I thought to myself, this
I
is a
I
work of art.
know what the episode is, but I don't recall
Of
the
course you do.
name.
You know all this stuff, man.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
but like to me, it's that's a work of art, right? To
yeah,
challenge yourself
yeah,
and
yeah,
not
yeah,
have all the dialogue, all
yeah.
that. It's
Uh,
pure action, right?
yeah, one of my favorite episodes. It's when it's called the time I almost got him. When the bad guys are sitting around the table tell tales how almost they got Batman. I love that one. And my son, his favorite is the man who almost killed the man who killed Batman. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's a
That's the
very
thing.
nice
Like,
story.
not only was the art and the animation kind of like amazing, right, for
Yeah,
the time, but the storytelling in that old Batman the Animated Series is so good.
yeah, very noir,
Yeah.
very dark.
Yeah, which is
The first two seasons, the first two
yeah,
seasons
yeah,
were there,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But
And then Batman.
yeah, the Soul of Silicon, I think it's the name about the robot, the Terminator style
Oh,
robot.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they are replacing people. A great episode.
I remember that.
Heart of Ice. Oh my God! How
Oh,
introduce Mr. Freeze the right way, right?
yes, with the daughter and all that. Oh my God.
Yeah,
So here's this beautiful thing that's coming on TV, right? And I'm used to like the Ghostbusters and I'm used to Ninja Turtles, and the quality is not always great every episode, but Batman
yeah.
seems to be fantastic at quality most of
Yes,
the time.
yes,
There were like peaks and valleys, but
yeah.
anyway, so later when I found out who it was animating on that, it was Shane, or designing on that was Shane Glines. So he's
It's in the list.
yeah,
Yeah,
designer
yeah,
animator to
yeah,
me that it inspired me
yeah.
through my entire animation journey.
I have a fun story because I was fascinated by Bruce Timm style.
Bruce Timm,
Yeah,
yes.
so I asked my dad. I want art of this guy. So I go in the library and they say American books and it's all English. I cannot read. Here, Brewsting book, who is for 18 kids, you know? And oh, this very dressed girls all completely nude and
Yeah.
oh my god. Thanks, Dad.
If anybody's curious, check out the Bjork video, and that's also kind of risky, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, so they're saying lines, but obviously when I started watching movies like Lion King
yeah.
and Pocahontas and
Yeah.
Mulan, I got I became enthralled with the animators at Disney. So we're talking Andres Deja, Glenn Keane, but also the Nine Old Men, which if anybody doesn't know who they are, they're responsible for really the successful animations from the 60s all the way through the 80s,
Yeah.
from Rescuers to Robin Hood, Jungle Book. So those guys were also my idols, and I know it's reaching way back, but these masters, honestly, like you mentioned earlier, that the traditional animation is not done as much anymore. These guys, it's hard to beat them even now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Just the quality and the warmth in those animations. Watch Jungle Book and
The
tell me that's
the
not that's not.
colors, the light, the details. I remember to see watching a documentary about Bambi, and Disney made they watch documentaries about the animals to catch the
Yeah,
movement, the little things, right?
yeah.
So
Like, yeah, they would actually bring in some of the animals into the studio, and then
yeah,
all the artists would sketch them out. Like, it's this kind of love of the craft that seems to be missing sometimes today. I don't say everything today, but like, I don't know, there's something artistic about that old era, you know?
yeah, it's something magical. It's magical
Yeah,
because we can feel the sweat, blood, and tears there,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
you heard the stories about what the animators do when when they finish Fantasia, right?
No, I don't know.
You know the celluloids with the character they throw in the ground and surf over them.
What?
Yeah, yeah, it's a real thing. It's some of those today's like thousands of dollars to find like a piece of
Yeah,
character, and they throw in the ground and surf, right?
these guys are crazy.
Yeah,
Another animator that I want to mention is Ralph Bakshi. So
is
Ralph,
in the list.
he's in the
Yeah,
list.
is in the list. Well,
So this guy did obviously the Fire and Ice for Lord of
yeah,
the
is
Rings.
in the list.
Yeah, those are probably the
Yeah.
bigger ones, right?
Uh,
But like he took risks that Disney probably
He did the Wizards. He
yeah,
did the
Wizards.
Cool World.
Yeah, cool world for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but then like you look at Disney tried to do the Black Cauldron, kind of like trying to jump on that sword and sorcery a little bit, and then you had a lot of well, to me, one of my favorite movies, by the way, Secret of Nim, and
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
all
Secrets of
very
Nympho was a very um dark.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah,
Like a
it was
Red
so
Wall. Red Wall. Whoa, Jesus. Right.
it was
What?
so
Oh,
dark
yeah.
that my girlfriend was watching it at a kid's party because she was what 13 at the time or even less 10 years old,
Uh,
and it was so dark that the mom came in and said no, 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 no,
no, no, no.
this is not for the little kids, and she
Yeah.
turned it off and my girlfriend's like what.
Well, can you tell some recent animations that are an example of storytelling and art?
Yeah, you know, like I get my hats off to Pixar because that it's such good stories still, you know, like I think sometimes Disney loses the mark a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They mess
Yeah,
up big time with Lightyear. Jesus.
I know, but I think Pixar, I would say 90% of the time their stories are just good, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I love
Inside Out,
Soul. I love Soul.
Soul, you know,
Yeah.
all of those Up. Oh my God, I
Oh,
watched Up
up,
for
up, up,
the
up.
time
Yeah.
about a year ago, and I'm like, why am I crying at this Pixar movie?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think if you follow Pixar specifically, it's hard to differentiate them from Disney now because they're all sort of mixed up.
Yeah, here in Brazil, most people don't know the is the difference
Yeah,
between the
so it is a
yeah,
very different studio, but it's owned by Disney, obviously.
yeah.
So those are good. There's Wild Robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good stuff's coming out. What I really liked in terms of TV, that's a whole thing. So obviously we're going to talk about Primal because I think you're mad
Yep.
at me for not watching the second season yet. But Primal was a thing. But Scavenger's Reign is also really interesting. I don't know if you
Yeah.
got to see that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that was like an experiment, almost like an artistic experiment on animation because every second scene is some weird creature crawling around a branch or
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
flower or something, So the animators went crazy with that thing. So that was really beautiful.
Yeah, I think the thing about the experimentation of episodic things start with the Peter Shang and the Animatrix project.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
way
Peter
back.
Shank, it's a genius. Iron Flux is one of the best and chaotic animations ever made.
Oh my God, yeah. And you had great things like Aeon Flux back then, and you had what was the Batman one with all the there was like a Batman sort of done by many studios. Like it was like the Animatrix, but with Batman. I forget the name of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. I don't recall what it
Yeah,
is.
that was really
It's
cool.
because it wasn't that one that came the idea for Batman Ninja, right?
Oh yes, of course, of
Yeah, yeah,
course. Yeah, there was a short in there where Batman turns into Shadow,
yeah.
and then he reappears elsewhere, and it was all within the guy's mind, and Batman became supernatural in a sense. That was a
Yes,
really
yes.
cool short story.
Yeah, yeah. So, I have some things here because here in Brazil, many cartoons are big,
Yeah,
and they don't make so much success like in the US and Canada or Europe. But here, when we grow up, Hanna-Barbera is big.
yeah.
Woodpecker, he rules Saturday morning cartoons, and I understand that in many places people don't care about Andy Panda. Here we love Andy Panda, Chili Willy, Inspector Willoughby, right?
I don't even know these. My God.
Yeah, and uh, so the difference of culture. And one
Wow.
cartoon is here in Brazil. Every generation watch at least one time. It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, the old Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still in TV today.
Really, I love that thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hate that unicorn. Jesus. Just put him down.
What did
So
I do?
I want to bring this because Hanna Barbera and King of Pictures when it came to Superman cartoons,
Oh wow,
and Warner Brothers because Batman and other cartoons, and we have a man who was a little greedy, but he deserved some recognition because everybody worked for him, and then
yeah.
in other places, starting there was Walter Lantz.
Walter Lance, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
have everybody who go to Warner to Disney working with Walter Lantz.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
correct.
yeah, nobody ever made a documentary about this guy
Wow. Yeah, you're
because
absolutely right. 'Cause I
here,
remember the
yeah,
name was always after the
yeah.
cartoon.
Do you remember that cartoon about Donald Duck when he's a park ranger and got that bear every time something bad happening with the bear, he go it jump in the water?
Yes, of course I remember that.
It's exactly episode like this with the same bear with Inspector Willoughby as a park ranger. The guy was fired for Walter Lentful. Yeah, I go do the same thing in Disney.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I swear.
And I liked Woody Woodpecker. Like to me,
Yeah,
there's certain characters that weren't on TV enough,
yeah.
and Woody Woodpecker was one of them. And Speedy Gonzales. Every time there was a Speedy
Yeah,
Gonzales one,
here in Brazil, Speedy Gonzalez is big, but it's something very interesting. Don't go and believe it, but he is more popular and in like stickers from the cars.
ah,
But in the first iteration, Speedy Gonzalez, red shirt, gold tooth. It was a one episode, I think, like this, and yeah,
wow, oh my God. Yeah, because you see Tasmanian Devil all over in
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah. And
Yeah.
here in the 90s, Tasmania Devil got the Tasmania cartoon. It was big for kids here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, see, that's the thing. I also grew up on Looney Tunes.
yeah,
So to me, Chuck Jones and
yeah,
Mel
Chuck.
Blanc and all that, to they were heroes too. I never thought I'd be animating Looney Tunes. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
What an honor that was. So one of the
yeah.
jobs I've worked on recently, I think it was about, I've been doing it for 3, 4 years, was the HBO Looney Tunes, the new one.
Yeah.
They're really good. So if
Wait,
anybody
wait,
has,
wait. You are involved in the Daffy Duck, the wizard is in Unstoppable?
the Wizards, no, I didn't do a Wizards Unstoppable
Dude,
one.
you got if you come to Brazil, careful because kids listen to that music and watch that clip all the time. The parents was going crazy because the wizard is unstoppable.
I didn't actually do that one, but I did the one. I did the Spooktaculars or
Oh
all the
yeah.
Halloween stuff. Pete the Puma had an episode. I did a bunch. Skyscraper Scrape, where
Yeah.
Sylvester is chasing Tweety across the city. I did a ton of that animation.
Yeah.
But like, what an honor though. I like. How is it that I'm sitting there and I'm animating these things now? I am so grateful for that.
Yeah, I wanna talk to you about something like you mentioned Chuck Jones, and we cannot talk about Chuck Jones and or Walter Lantz or any other animation without talking about the first Termite Squad,
Oh yeah,
about Tex Avery and his friends
yeah.
enjoying themselves in a small shed and created these crazy characters, then everything came from them. Every
I
crazy thing
know.
he make the first time joke about he going to throw everything at me, even the sink, and the sink came. And I remember when always loved Droopy, but when Chuck Jones made Droopy was magic for me. Remember that the episode about the sheep versus the cows, and the sheep were eating all the grass, and what masterpiece
Yeah,
of Chuck Jones.
I remember that one. But yeah, like these guys, they worked literally out of a shack, and they came up with some crazy stuff. And the coolest thing is that I don't know if you ever saw, it's Bugs Bunny's playing piano,
Yeah, yeah,
and and then somebody's coughing in the audience, right?
yeah.
And then
Bang!
and he's getting pissed off, and then finally he gets up and shoots the guy in the audience.
Yeah,
So that's like it indicates to me that the old Looney Tunes was actually more for adults because they used to
yeah.
play for movies, right?
Yeah,
And
because the animators do some things they know the parents will be with the kids, so it's jokes for the kids and jokes for the
yeah,
parents,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But something I always love it's Tex Avery, everything he built, but I always love the King of Features cartoons, Popeye. That
Oh
oh
man,
my God, like the Sinbad one, because they filmed this real
yes,
sets
it
and
was weird, right?
anime. Yeah, yeah, and you know the Sinbad one. It's like
I'm trying to remember. I think so. Yeah,
Popeye Sinbad versus Sinbad. Brutus
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
Sinbad.
yeah.
The set of the island is the same. That movie, how do I mean? Jack the Giant Killer.
Oh, I just
Yeah,
watched that.
yeah, yeah. Harry Whitehauser made
Yeah, yeah,
the
Harry Hauser.
declamation. Yes, the same set, the same cast though. They just using to
Wow,
animate Popeye. Yeah.
that's crazy. 'Cause it actually gives a really interesting feel to those cartoons, eh?
Yes, yes, and you can see the sculpture is creepy faces in some parts, just for purpose. Yeah,
Yeah, like it almost like I would love to see something done like that today. Real backgrounds filmed and then
yeah,
animated on top of that. It'd be really interesting.
yeah. So, you have before we go forward, is something of that time you think you can you like to mention it?
Yeah, well, in terms of animation, when I was in college, like we have to do reference movement, right? So we'd record ourselves, But we look like a bunch of crazy apes, the animation class, because it's late and we're trying to get all this footage. And I'm jumping off the desk over and over like, like some sort of vandal or something. And then the security guard shows up and he's like, "You guys are going to have to leave." And we had to spend half an hour explaining to the security guard what an animator is. And now we have to use that as reference. So that was a funny introduction to animation for me. But that's the thing. Like animators are kind of solo artists. They stay in their little bubble, but we're kind of crazy too. So
Yeah,
there's an
you must be crazy,
yeah,
right?
because we have to think
So,
of crazy, silly things, right? So
yeah,
to me, I love being in this community of like-minded people that are creative and introverts, and but also can let out all this imagination in storytelling. So I think not enough credit goes to animators. Not to toot my own horn, but it's just like movies. We're forgetting animators now because it
yeah,
used to be in the cities that we would know the animators. Name a 3D animator on Inside Out. I don't know one.
yeah, I
That's
can.
probably my fault, but like they're not. These idols are missing a little bit now. I find.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same for me with translators or voice actors,
Yeah, yeah,
voice
yeah.
recognition.
And
Yeah.
it's funny that writers
Hmm.
writers also get like kind of screwed in terms of live action movies too. Nobody's thinking about who wrote on it. They think, oh, what's the actor, what's the director, but the writers where the core of the story comes
Yeah.
from, right? Yeah,
Yeah, and we talk about the first termite squad, but is a second one who was in the trailer in the parking lot of the old Cartoon Network studios when Tartakovsky started in the
uh,
trailer, right? And then these guys came and take the mantle, and we got Dexter, Cow and Chicken, Powerpuff Girls, not new iterations of Batman, and a
and Samurai
lot.
Jack
What?
and Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack
Yeah,
and Symbiotic Titan.
yeah.
So
Every one of those I love. Doesn't
yeah,
that say something?
and of course, Primal, right?
Yeah, of
Primal,
course,
yeah, yeah.
Brian. Of course.
When I watch Primal, I make it this weird reference in my head, like it's the version of Tartakovsky, like the old cartoon of Hanna Barbera, Gino
Yeah,
Boy, without the
yeah,
Gino Boy, right? Just the caveman.
yeah.
And it's beautiful, and the second season have an amazing end. I don't know why they going make a third season, but yeah, but let's see what
Yeah.
happened. But
Well, because it's not every day that traditional animation has that level of success nowadays,
yeah,
right? So I think why not? And
yeah,
and to me, I watch Primal, and I think it is Tartakovsky's best thing so far. And
yeah, they let him lose. They let him lose. Yeah, and I think I don't know if you think the same, but I think he was a little frustrated after the Transylvania Hotel because Sony screw him with
oh,
the
did they? I
deal
don't
because
know.
they promised him he can make a Popeye animation,
Oh,
and
I remember that.
yeah, he made a short. They and then they go backtrack because public opinion, and he loves Popeye, and I think the man got a little hurt because this.
Uh,
Yeah,
because you can still watch that Popeye on YouTube.
yeah, yeah,
It's one of the most amazing 3D animation as I've ever seen
yeah.
ever. And I remember going, okay, this is coming out, and then nothing.
Yeah,
So
and
I didn't know the story.
I don't know like how people can like the Princess Peaches of Mario and don't like Olive. It's the same thing. She let the guy pick her up, kidnap her, and she wants someone come rescue her.
I
It's just
know,
like
and
that. She liked
I like,
attention.
yeah, it's true, and I like Olive way more than Princess Peach. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
So have need your opinion about some another cartoons like Batman the animated series. It's amazing, right?
Yeah,
And the after that we got the Batman, the same animator who make the Jack Chan Adventures.
Yeah,
right?
so yeah, it's funny because there's a bit of a divide there. A lot of people like the earlier one and they think, oh, what did they do? You know, a lot of the designs changed. You look at the Joker, the new Joker is like demonic almost, but it's kind of
Yeah,
cool too, right?
yeah. Only one character I don't like in the cartoon is the iteration Mr. Freeze because he is not a
Uh,
good scientist. It's just a thief, and I don't like it. I love Mr.
yeah,
Freeze.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, once you've watched the episode you mentioned there with his daughter, there's no going back. There's no
No,
changing.
no, no. And
But
the movie Batman versus Dracula is very nice. It's very well
yeah,
animated. Yeah, and
and the
he's
Phantom Mask,
yeah, yeah,
those are all really nicely animated. And I also
yeah.
like a shout out to Batman Beyond because I think that's really
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Batman Beyond was very dark, and he's got the episodes about Hazal Ghul and
Yeah.
people die. It was awesome, right?
Like to me, when I'm not it's not like I'm obsessed with gore or death, but like when you reveal real stakes in a story, you treat the story with a little bit of realism.
Yeah,
Suddenly, everything becomes more intense. Like I don't know if you managed to watch the Penguin, the live action Penguin.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, so it's like the stakes are real. And there's no silliness, right? It's not like
yeah,
everybody just lives and everybody's happy. Like everything and anything can happen.
yeah.
So that's what it tells me when you have Batman Beyond be so serious because like you're invested in it and it's taking the audience seriously too, right? It's
Yes,
like
yes.
trusting the audience. So
Because in the beginning I got a little pissed because Bruce was a old man,
I know.
angry and bitter, and like the episode of the Justice League was not exactly the Justice League I know, and
Yeah,
I only think I was okay is the Superman's a dick because he is. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah. But later we got better and more mature, and we also got the ending for the Batman Beyond and the Justice League when they saw the future.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know if you read a lot of comics, but to
yeah,
me,
yeah.
Kingdom Come by with Alex Ross,
Yeah, yeah.
is one of the best
Here in
ones we have.
Brazil, we have after Kingdom Come, we have these big issues like power, justice, light, darkness.
Oh, yes, I know
Yeah,
those too.
yeah,
Yeah. But like, if anybody is listening, if they want an introduction to comics, buy the Kingdom Come, because it is that it's the Justice League slightly in the future, and so you see how it's affecting all the heroes.
yes.
What a wonderful story, and beautifully painted by Alex Ross. Like you
Yeah, like
can't.
Alex Oz is a master. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
after this show, the
Boy,
battle.
we're geeking out here, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Look at us.
After the show, we got one who I like because he deserves a lot of love. It's Batman, the Brave and the Bold. I love that cartoon because it
Yeah,
goes
I didn't tell me that.
the Silver Age, and we have a small homage. We even got the Space Ghost
Oh my God.
one episode. So it's a very nice. It's fun. So in we even have a movie a few years ago with the Batman, the Bold, and Scooby Doo gang. It's very
Oh,
nice, man. Very funny. Very family. Like it's a nice
that's
cartoon. It's a nice show.
well, that's what I thought they were going to do with the new Batman, where it's kind of the classic Batman with the super long ears there.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was going to be like more retro, more classic,
Yeah,
but
I don't think they yeah, and the last it's one I think it was nice, but because the humor is that the Justice League action.
again, I didn't see that one. Should I
Wait, wait. Shane Glines practically draw all the characters.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay, I got to check this out.
and it's a very fun cartoon episode. It's called Tour for the Justice Tower with
Uh,
Buster Gold.
oh,
He
nice.
got tourists. All the tourists are bad guys with fake mustaches and wigs. Go, he don't notice nothing, right?
That's
Yeah.
pretty hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, and in the end, one of the characters who we think is just a tourist actually is Joker, né?
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's very funny because they all bad guys. They all came here, and Buster Gold, except Joker, he was just nice and enjoying the party.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is good because he subverts expectation, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, well, so let's talk a little about your Lovercraft,
Oh yeah,
because the Mountain of Madness, we got three arts of characters, two with names, right?
yeah,
We
yeah,
have we got Lake and Carol. Carol
yeah.
is a woman, or no?
No, it's just the last name
Yeah,
Carol.
yeah.
So
Okay, okay.
I think,
Ah, last name. I understand. And
yeah,
can you talk about something for
yeah,
us?
yeah,
Because
sure.
Lovecraft, it's becoming very big here in Brazil.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I think Lovecraft is sneaking into everybody's perception, right? It's becoming a lot more evident to everybody. So the tricky part with Lovecraft, and I think we should address it, is he was slightly racist in letters that he was correspond with. So that's tough because the stories are really good. But then it's funny because I heard recently that he lived in New York City and that eventually he started sending letters loving the fact that it was multicultural. So I think there was a learning thing that happened in his life.
Yeah,
So I think it's worth it.
he was pen pal with Robert Howard.
Yeah, he was. He
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I think it's this correspondence that where you start to see him come out of that sort of old-fashioned thinking and to
yeah.
appreciate the multiculturalism there. So it's not like I'm a big champion of Lovecraft and that he was perfect guy, but
No,
I think
no.
I think he learned a lot, you know.
Yeah. Here we say good writer, bad person. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know, and I think he wasn't even that bad at the end, you
Mm,
know. Like I think he was
mm.
learning. Anyway, just to get that said, but for Mountains of Madness, anybody who's interested in the really dark stuff, so like mental anguish and horror through the imperceptible things that are too big for the human mind, right?
Yeah.
And they can make you insane. Lovecraft
Can literally blow your brain.
can really blow your
Literally
brain
blow your brain.
out. So Mountains of Madness, the reason I guess you're bringing it up is because I'm currently working on a little short of the Mountains of Madness. It's almost like a
Yes.
trailer for what the movie should be, right?
Yes.
Um, well, in this, I guess we don't have to tell the story, but there's a lot of mental anguish and mystery, and it takes place in the Antarctic. And I just thought it would be a beautiful thing to try to do. Is this horror story that's never actually been done perfectly, or even at all? Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, no, no. Lovecraft is a very well. You can tell this because what is everybody who know horror
Yeah,
can it's unanimous is Guillermo del Toro must do Lovecraft.
that's it.
And you have something to tell us about
Yeah,
them, right?
I do have something to tell Guillermo del Toro. So, okay, first off, he is one of my idols. Like ever since Pan's Labyrinth, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this guy, I love this guy. He
Yep.
loves horror and even a cabinet of mysteries. Like everything this guy does, I love. So I heard that he has an interest in making Mountains of Madness by Lovecraft into a live action, but he's never got it off the ground. So I don't know the details, but I know that what I want to do is take this trailer that I'm going to finish, maybe in a couple of months, and try to really ping him on all social media and try to get him to look at it.
Yeah.
We're going to get into Conan later, but it's going to look a little bit like the Conan one I did. And so hopefully he's like, oh, animation's an interesting idea to
Yeah,
go with.
he works in animation with the Trolls series, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he loves claymation. He did a wonderful Pinocchio.
Yeah,
So
that bastard broke my heart three times in that movie, man.
it's such a good movie.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah, I mean,
I think not everybody could understand the Mussolini jokes. I got it. You know, you laugh
and
very much, man.
I know you got it takes place in Italy.
And
But anyway, so
yeah, and just one thing. When I was watching and I saw the Mussolini in this Pinocchio, I got, hey, it's what Akira Toriyama did with the guys in the Dragon Ball cartoon. The general was tiny guy. You
yeah,
remember the
I
red
love that.
ribbon, red ribbon army, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so funny to me. But yeah, so I'm really interested in doing that Lovecraft, and also I think it's worth saying that not enough people have a vision that adheres to the original story as much.
Yeah.
And so, like you look at the Ring of Power, for example. I'm
Oh
a big
my
Tolkien
God.
fan, right? So they just like kind of went a totally different
Yep.
direction.
Yep.
you know. And I'm like, no, you have to respect the original. You have to respect the
Yes.
author. You know?
Yes.
So that's why if I were to take something like Lovecraft, why not stick to the story? It's such a good story, by the way. And anybody who's interested in reading horror, read Mountains of Madness. How cool is that story, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I would stick to the material, which is what I would do with Conan, by the way.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so to me, that's my intention is to,
Uh,
I don't know if I'm going to take this trailer and crowdsource it and make it a full movie or not, or I don't know. So that's what I'm going to do.
it's a big project, it's a big step, and I hope it's work. And something we talk about in the briefing, guys, it's like it's some rumors going around about live action Drizzt Do'Urden movie. And
Oh,
me
yes.
and Alain agreed that it's a bit bad idea. Drizzt, Lovecraft, Conan, the fantasy, the sword and sorcery was proved with Vox Machina that can work better in animation, right?
Right? I know. So, okay, think of it this way. I don't even want to know what Lord of the Rings cost. One of the movies meant to make because it's exorbitant when you
Yeah,
have it in live
yeah,
action. First off, the budget is ridiculous. So in animation, you can make it for a quarter of the cost, and you can have the same level of budget in a sense. If I do something in animation, it's limitless. It's my imagination. It's how well
exactly.
I can draw the locales. It's how well I can animate the characters. So you have to get quality animators and artists for sure. But you don't have to be on set with like these crazy sets. You don't have to hire 6 CGI studios to do all the stuff around it. And
Exactly.
it almost gets the same result, if not better, stylistically sometimes, right?
Yes.
Like there's such beautiful effects that if you're willing to like look at Eon Flux, right? That's so weird, and it's something that you can't really get
Understand.
in live action, right?
Yep.
So if you have somebody with vision that can make it very unique, there's something even better sometimes about animation. If you give it the proper rating, don't give it a PG-13. You
Yes.
make it a little more adult so that you can tell the right story, right? I
Yep.
think there's advantages there.
I agreed with you. So something we have to talk about. It's your grand moment now. It's the day the Earth blew up. The return of
Uh,
Porky Pig and Daffy Duck. Like I I forgot the word. Like as a team, like Riggs and Mortar, right? And we got
yeah,
because many people forget that in the beginning, Porky Pig and Daffy Duck were together, very funny stories, and now we bring Petunia, and we have a new character. It's the Invader, voiced by Peter McNeil, who is very much known for the Dragon Slayer kid or the weird guy in Ghostbusters 2.
Ghostbusters too.
Yeah, yeah, he got a great evil laugh,
Oh my
right?
God, have you? Is it available in Brazil yet?
They are announcing, but it's not
Okay.
released yet.
Oh, you can't imagine how Peter McNichol performs in this movie. Like, because I saw the whole thing behind the scenes, right? Because I'm animating
Yeah.
on it. But his performance for this movie is the most amazing thing you'll ever see. He did not phone it in. He went to the sound studio and he put his entire soul and body into this character
Yeah, yeah.
because it is wonderful.
So
So
tell us, because
yeah,
we got the Looney Tunes, really Looney Tunes, really crazy. We got a new background for the Porky Pig and Daffy Duck and Petunia,
yeah,
and all these new stories, and it go very crazy, very not first, my second generation,
yeah.
right?
Second,
Yeah. So
although he, yeah, yeah.
how
Well,
was
okay.
the decision?
This is, I'm not the director or anything. I was one of the lead animators, but like, holy cow, dude, Porky Pig and Daffy Duck were the original odd couple, right?
Yeah,
Like, because Porky Pig is so,
that's the word, odd couple.
and Daffy Duck, they go back to when he was insane.
Yeah.
Like, he goes nuts sometimes, right? Like, he's not
Yeah.
controllable. He's not that sort of wisecracking, sarcastic Daffy Duck. He's the nutty Daffy Duck that goes, woohoo, and jumps around a lot. So, anyway, perfect cast, right? But what's really important here is that there's a lot of Looney Tunes movies, and but they're never really like a Looney Tunes story set in Looney Tunes world, you know. And this
Yes.
one, it stays within that their story instead of being relying on some sort of sport or being in live action. It is just Looney Tunes, and it's not about Looney Tunes. It's its own original story.
Yeah.
And so after finishing on this movie, it was so good because I've watched it several times in storyboard form and whatever. It was so good that I'm like, why don't people take the classic characters and put them in situations like this?
Yeah.
It works really beautifully, and I'm talking about Disney too, like Daffy Duck and Donald Duck and Goofy. They can be the cast members in new stories, original stories. Why is that not being done? It's so cool. But anyway, on this movie, it was a treasure to animate on it. They think that I'm like the crazy animator, so they give me big, super wacky stuff, right? Like, but I'm actually generally more an actor animator, so I, I do that kind of stuff. But whatever, I'll take it all. It's so fun, right? So, but this movie is full of great jokes that land. That you're gonna laugh if you watch this movie. And we need to support this movie because if this movie does well, the day the earth blew up, apparently there's two more scripts for Looney
Yeah.
Tunes
Yeah. Yeah.
to have their own story again, and probably because spoiler, Bugs Bunny's not in this one. So if Bugs can have his own, and whatever other characters, they're gonna green light these other two scripts. So we need to support this movie because these are fantastic movies in a time where
Mm.
movies are like so sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hit or miss now, especially in animation. You don't know if it's going to be good
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
like messaging. You just want a fun story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the decision to bring back Petunia was I got happy because she was badass back in the day. She was kicking
Yeah.
ass.
Yes.
Yeah, man,
Yes.
was very funny because
And she has hilarious moments in
yeah,
this.
and one fun fact is like Petunia here is still Petunia, but
Yeah.
Daffy Duck we call him Patolino is like the Colino, and
Oh, okay.
pork pig we call him Gaguinho, what means stutter.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
that's funny because I know the Germans call him Piggy Dick.
and Bugs Bunny here we call him Pernalonga, what mean long leg.
Hmm. So like the hair part, like in because there's a difference between a rabbit and a hare. So long leg. I like it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
very
yeah.
cool. What's the name for bugs again? How do you say it?
Pernalonga,
Pernalonga.
Pernalonga.
Long. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And
Oh,
here, Tweety, the bird.
yeah.
Yeah, here we call him Pew Pew. What's a joke for little Jake, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, like I think it's not necessarily for kids either, though. Like the day the Earth blew up. Like, yeah, kids are gonna love it because there's a lot of crazy visuals, but adults, I think it goes back
yeah.
like, way
That's the
back to
thing.
when Looney was appealing to adults as well.
Yeah,
So, yeah, and
because
you're gonna see an origin story a little bit with Porky Pig and Daffy Duck,
yeah,
so you find out why they
it's
are
the
how they are.
trailer was very nice. It's some surprise, some character was forgotten is come back and is like for a minute something we a Easter egg we should keep watching.
Yeah, well, I think what's fun is I can't spoil it, right? But like, I think you're gonna fall in love with the alien, and I thought it was Marvin the Martian was gonna come back,
Yeah, yeah,
but
because the Duck Dodgers cartoon was made a lot of success here in
yeah,
Brazil.
yeah. Oh, actually, I would love for another movie to be Duck Dodgers.
Yeah, yeah, and
Imagine a 455 story like that.
I love that episode who they mistake the clothes and the dishwasher, and he got the Green Lantern one. He made so much success. They put him in the Lego games like the Duck Green Lantern Duck.
I think instead of looking for characters that are brought back, enjoy this for how new it is.
Yeah,
Like, and I'm not talking about like it gets too modern, but it's just a brand new story.
yeah.
And yeah,
Oh, a cartoon who deserves comeback. I don't know how it was there for you because it was one the Spielberg brainchild was Freakazoid.
Oh my God.
We love Freakazoid.
Yeah, that's amazing. Imagine a full feature of Freakazoid.
Yeah, because it was so wacky, like the ways he interact with the villains, right? It was so
Yeah,
crazy, right?
almost like a Deadpool, but like a cartoon Deadpool. Like I don't remember if he broke the fourth wall, but everything
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
he broke the fourth wall all the
yeah, that's
time,
it,
all
man.
the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
yeah.
Was
So that was actually cool.
was episode when he start talking? I am Steven favorite. Like then the show stop and go in that room. Is there is the Animaniacs and Pink and Brain and Freakazoid and Steven Spielberg. Who is your favorite? How I always like E.T.
What?
Yeah. So
There's another thing I want to say about the day the Earth blew up is that so yeah, everybody knows that Warner Brothers is kind of weird sometimes with the how they promote their movies, right?
yep.
And they dropped the ball on this one because it wasn't even Warner Brothers that was meant to distribute it. So that means everybody, the director and all that, they had to find across the world different people to distribute it in different places. That's why it's been out in Germany and Japan, I think Japan, China, in like very far off countries before it even hits North America. It's because there was this big confusion about distribution.
Mhm.
So that makes it probably not have a lot of advertising. So that's why it's
Yeah.
really tough
Yeah.
for this movie. But we have to support it. Another
Yeah.
reason.
No, we have to support because when we talk, I was thinking it's going direct to streaming here in
Yeah, I
Brazil.
know,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I was afraid with that, right?
it
And
probably will be in streaming at some point on probably HBO or whatever HBO's
yeah,
at that point.
here HBO is the Warner Brothers house in Brazil is
Yeah,
HBO,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
So,
um, something else we can tell about the day that the Earth blew up.
well, I know you want to talk about it.
So,
Sword and sorcery,
yeah.
and
So, but before we talk about sword and sorcery, we have to talk about Ralph Bakshi, Fire and Ice,
okay, my
right?
pleasure.
It's a great movie. We have Frank Frazetta. We have a lot of important people working in this animation. Was a rotoscopic movie.
Yeah.
Was this movie traumatized Frazetta so much? He say I will never work with animation again, right?
Wow, I
Yeah,
didn't know.
yeah, yeah. And his granddaughter got a channel called Frazetta Girl. It's
Oh,
a
that's amazing.
mini doc about this, right?
Yeah, and you can
So
join it on Instagram too. So it's really good, good Instagram account.
yeah, so Fire and Ice is or original was supposed to be a Conan, right?
Oh, I didn't even know that either.
Yeah, they want to make a Conan, but the rights still was not available,
Oh
and
boy.
so they make Fire and Ice. It was a great show, and the voice actors are wonderful. The backgrounds, wow. But something was a little sad because some parts of the history they left in the cut rooms floor, edition floor, right? They want to give the Black Wolf more background, like saying he was Necron father and all these things,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, yeah. And Necron is a Sith Lord in the Stone
Yeah,
Age, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind
So
of awesome.
yeah, yeah. So tell us because when I watch Fire and Ice, I watch Too Young for the movie again. So tech, tell us about what you think about the movie as a fan, as an animator, because we have many techniques applied in one thing.
Yeah, so I think even though they say the budget was relatively high on it, I think they leaned into rotoscope a lot. So
Yep.
rotoscope is when you take live action footage and then you project it onto your light table. So when you're drawing, you're basically drawing the outlines of the characters and taking those features directly, right? So you get that feeling when you watch the movie is that it looks like real people running around, but they're cartoons. So I think that was because they had so much stuff to do, and they were not Disney. They didn't have as many skilled artists, so they relied heavily on that. But it gives a really unique feel. So anybody who hasn't seen Fire and Ice, check it out because it's really a bizarre feeling
Yeah.
to see people that are traced essentially running around. But despite that, it gives it a surreal feeling as well because, like you said, the backgrounds were Frazetta inspired, and so they're kind of psychedelic in a sense
Yeah.
with these
Roy
green.
Thomas was a big player in the storytelling.
Oh, I didn't know that
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
You know so much about this one. But anyway, I loved it. I loved
Yeah.
it because when I was growing up, I think you'll agree that there's not enough sword and sorcery, right? Like,
No, no.
yeah,
Cartoons,
and
no.
so
Movie, yeah, but cartoon,
movie,
no.
especially the 80s and 70s,
Yeah,
had a lot of
yeah.
sorcery. They're B movies, but whatever, right? And but yeah, so in animation, it was something new. It was violent, although I think they avoid any blood, right?
No,
I
no,
guess
we got a lot of blood.
is there a lot of blood,
Yeah,
or is it
yeah,
black?
a lot of blood, a lot of blood.
Okay,
I
yeah, I'm
think
trying to remember
the
because I saw it
most,
like 3 months ago.
I think the most shocking, the first shocking part when they hunting ram and he go in the tree and the guy throw the axe and he picked the axe and throw it crash in the middle of the chest of the guy he fall.
Okay.
After that is
Oh,
the dragon, the lizard, giant lizard, a scare jump,
oh
and
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
most bloody one. It's for me. It was when Tigra finally seeing her brother again. That was brutal.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's the mature themes are all over this movie,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
especially like there's, I wouldn't recommend it if you're too young because there's a
It
lot of
is not for
implied,
kids. Not for kids.
yeah, like there's no actual nudity, but they get away with like thongs and smallest bikini you could ever
Yep,
find, and
yep,
so and then they emphasize certain parts, if you know what I'm talking
yep.
about. So it's yeah, I understand that that would be shocking to a little kid. So, but because of that, because it enters the sort of adult themes, it becomes a very different movie from anything that was being produced back then. Even Japanimation wasn't at that point.
Yes.
There was relatively violent at Japanimation, but then it hadn't gotten to Ninja Scroll or Akira yet. You know, like they hadn't become R-rated in Japan yet. So this one was like really unique. You know, so for that, it's like a history lesson in where is animation, how is animation R rated, and yeah, like there was its themes like betrayal
Yeah.
and
It's something I want to ask you as an animator. I talk to some guys here in Brazil, and they all tell me something when we talk about anime. It's like every animator once in his life want make pay homage to Akira when the bike scene is
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, eh,
Recently, I saw that many other animations had copied that exact scene.
yeah.
Yeah,
How a skid mark? Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna pay probably homage to
It's
it.
a drifter, right?
Yeah, it's when you
Yeah,
yeah, Tokyo Drift, that kind of thing.
yeah,
But I'm going to pay homage to it to a certain degree in my Mountains of Madness from when they're morphing into these
yeah.
weird.
The giant baby, the
Yeah,
giant
yeah.
baby thing. Oh my God, that was gross, man.
So I'm going to probably do a little bit of that in Mountains of Madness because it actually
Mhm.
applies. So it's not
Yeah.
like I'm just throwing it in there.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
but
let's talk about the crown jewel, the
uh,
elephant tower,
yes.
because the elephant tower for many Howard fans, it's the darkest history tale about Conan. It's homage to Lovecraft and their friendship.
Yes.
And I don't know if you noticed, but it's the first story about Conan with no girls,
Oh, that's true.
right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So when guys watching will be here, it's 46 seconds. these 46 seconds pick up my hope and throw to the sky because I was watching. I was not just watching Conan. I was watching Zamora, the tower, the tavern, and also I saw the homage about like Jungle Book and other things like Black Countdown was amazing in 46 seconds. Man, tell us about this.
So this is before the summer. My studio ran out of work, so everybody was laid off, and I'm like, well, do I really try to like find another gig already, or do I do something for myself for once, right? And I love Conan. I love Robert E. Howard, and I've read all his stories, and I've played all the video games, and you name it. I
Yes.
just love it. There's even old video games that I used to play. Anyway, so I'm like, I'm going to do something for myself, and I wanted to do it chronologically because I may actually do more Conans after this. So I was like, okay, I think he's at his youngest in the Tower of the Elephant, right? I think he's just like
Yeah.
he shows up and they're kind of laughing at him. Who's this kid?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. And something I tell you, everybody in it's the sledgehammer. They call it the tavern, or it's just a hammer.
I looked for a title. I couldn't find the title,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't
They
know.
call. I think because here in Brazil they call marreta. Marreta means
Okay.
sledgehammer,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
It,
So
Conan. Everybody there learn that you only make fun of a Cimmerian one time in your life,
I know.
right?
You know what? Like, there's so much that I couldn't put in 46 seconds, and I wish I could. Oh, the general city part is called the mall, which is also the sledgehammer. That's what
Yeah,
the name
yeah,
is.
temol, temol. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's another word for hammer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So because it's trailer-like, what I'm making, I had to skip some stuff, and it's too bad because in that tavern, there's a lot of violence that happens
Yeah,
after they make fun of
yeah,
him.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
funny because Conan, he's too real to understand what they're doing at first because they're making their
Yeah, it's
sarcasm.
the innocence of the barbarian there because everybody thought, yeah, in the tower, the wizard with the true power of the Zamora, and he
Yeah,
goes, why? Somebody don't go there, kill the
yeah,
wizard, take the jewels, and go home.
yeah. It's like, what's the
Yeah,
problem?
what's the problem? Yeah.
And then they all start laughing at him, and he's like,
Yeah.
he's kind of like a Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, going, "I'm trying to understand why they're laughing." And then when he finds out, boy, he
Yeah,
regrets.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's part of why I regret not putting that in the story. But I'm only one guy, so I can
Yeah.
only do so much. But anyway,
How long was the time to you
yeah.
spend making? How many hours? How many days? How
If you
many skip meals?
it's a love it's a work of passion, so I
Yeah.
put a lot of hours into it, but I think it was about 2 months and a half by the time I was able to release it. So my girlfriend did a couple of animation shots. I used music from somebody online, so I'm not alone, but I'm very close to alone. So
Yeah.
it took me almost 3 months. And then, but it was me doing most of the shots. I did all the storyboarding and the laying out. That's why I blame myself for two things.
Yep.
I didn't put jewels on the tower, and I forgot that there were jewels. And I'm bad. I should have double checked, but it's encrusted with jewels, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
I know, and I totally forgot that, and that's my bad. And I won't do that if I do a full feature. I will include the jewels. But it was also Taurus. Again, I had to skip
Yeah,
on some.
Taurus, guys. Taurus of Nemedja, the great
Yeah.
thief of all times. And the crazy thing about Taurus is he's big like Conan, but he's a big guy. You can see it here in the screen. He's a big guy, and
Yeah.
it's the first time for me when I was reading something. The thief was not a skinny, sleazy guy with a knife in the shadows.
Yeah.
Was a big guy, big belly, beard, and he was running and jumping and
Oh yeah.
wow, right?
Yeah, he's like Jack Black or Chris Farley, where they're
Chris
big.
Farley. Whoa, Chris Farley would be a great Taurus,
Oh, you
man.
could have sworn,
Yeah, right.
right? But anyway, I recommend anybody read the story because it's so wonderful. But yeah, that's another reason why I thought that Conan was young because he has sort of a mentor
Yeah.
there. He's like, no, no, Conan, check this out. You don't have to freaking punch the lions in the face. You can use different ways to get rid of them and stuff like that. So he
Yes.
teaches them along the way.
Small details, guys. Alain put Conan cut down a lion with one stroke. Beautiful,
Yeah.
man.
And that was actually Julie, my girlfriend's scene.
Yeah,
So
whoa.
credit to
Was nice, man. So the background is beautiful, the arts, né? So, something I noticed, guys, you can look at the Instagram. So, also, it's in your sketches. Conan is the most different because in your sketches is like the classic barbarian shirtless, and in the Elephant Tower he was is dressed like with a tunic, right?
Tunic,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So was very 46 seconds, and the spider was creepy as fuck, man. Yeah. So was beautiful. I just missed Star Wars because I'm a big fan of him, but uh and oh sorry, the word is besides Taurus, we have two arts. One we got Yara, the wizard, the sorcerer.
Yeah.
Yep. Who is a character who is just in three lines in the original history,
Yeah,
right?
he
Right.
has
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
three paragraphs, and
Yeah, yeah.
he starts to grow huge, and
What you
then
doing here, you dog? That.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
But
Right.
that's what I love about Conan. That's what I love about
Yeah,
Robert
yeah,
E.
yeah.
Howard. Sometimes things are so brutal and so
Yeah.
sudden, and so anything can happen, you know. But yeah,
Yeah, my favorite tale of Conan is the Black Colossus. Yeah, is
oh, what a wonderful
he's a
story.
mercenary, right? In the end,
Yeah,
the wizard is doing the villain speech, the bad guy speech. Right, right,
yeah.
right. Conan go, huh? It throw the sword to the guy, kill him,
Yeah.
right?
It's so amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But the
So
the Tower of the Elephant though is that there's the elephant
yeah,
that's in the tower.
in the elephant, your iteration of the creature remember me a lot of the elephants in the Robin Hood of Disney.
Yeah,
The guards of the Prince John was a
yeah,
very very smooth, very still mystic, still a little scary, but
yeah,
very smooth animation. The decision was easy because is in the tale Howard say is what Conan can understand who is look like an elephant,
yeah.
right?
Which a lot of people think that it's actually a spacesuit because there's
Yeah, I heard some theories like, and one of the best arts guys about this is first is for Mark Schultz,
hmm.
right? Here he is here.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And we have one of the originals cover for Earl Norring for Conan. Here we got the okay,
It's hard
okay.
to see, but
I got it. I go. Oh, oh,
oh,
yeah.
there you go.
Here we go. He's
Hey, I
here.
never.
He's here. He's here in the scream, guys.
Yeah,
You can see the spider, the treasure, Conan, and the elephant here,
yeah.
right?
Wow,
So
that's so cool. Well, my take on it was I'm such a sucker for traditional medieval fantasy, right?
yeah,
So I wanted it to be like some sort of mystical creature that could exist in that world, and I didn't think about making him too alien because it still grounds it a little bit, but it's really left to interpretation in the book. So I took some liberty there, but I'm
yeah,
glad you liked my version.
yeah. And the other art, it's Bellet, the great
uh,
love of Conan's life.
oh man, I
She's
might do that one next.
beautiful. She's beautiful, man. She's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, that's right. Because if anybody has read some of Conan and hasn't read The Queen of the Black Coast, read that, and it's so revelatory in terms of his personality, Conan, but
Yeah,
also somebody he's deeply in love with. So everybody always thinks of Conan as being heartless and cold and like an animal, but in this one he can't help. but to be in love with this woman and be willing to do anything for her. And we do too. We're reading the book, and this is like the most beautiful woman you've
Yeah,
ever met.
the thing about Bellet is like she see Conan, and she decide he is my mate. I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
this guy,
It's
right?
so, it's so like primordial thinking, like from the ancient days. And it's like, and he's, I remember the moment he's defending himself against her whole crew. A bunch of guys are trying to hit Conan, and he's wearing this heavy armor, and they're like, everybody stop, even though he's killed like 16 of them.
Yeah,
Please stop. He's my mate. You know.
yeah.
So she has all control. She's one of the most powerful women in all of Conan's stories, actually.
Yeah, because people associate Conan love for because of Valeria, because the movie.
Mm.
Yes, and guys, also like Bellet, Valeria was in one Conan story,
Yeah,
right? Red
yeah,
Nails. So Bellet deserve more love. Who
yeah.
reads the comics understand that because was a time they tried to make like a, a timeline for Conan and what was like 3 or 4 years just Conan Bellet like the pirates and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
never works. Conan must be episodic, right?
yeah. It
And
does.
here in Brazil we got the leather section in the comics, right? And we got here some art, fun art, and letters, poems about Conan Bellet,
Yeah,
right?
that's funny.
This is my Savage Sword of Conan special. Here, it's the first who was full colorized.
Oh, that is old stuff. My God,
Yeah,
it's a bit hard to see, but yeah, I get it.
I'll go into here.
There you go. Oh
The
yeah, look at
first
that.
full edition I got for Conan who is colorized.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's so cool.
right.
So that's the thing. Like Robert E. Howard was writing for magazines. He's writing for newspapers. So they had to be action packed. It's pulp fiction, right? It's like that's what the term comes from, is
Yep.
this little pulp stuff. And then, but they were always so sharply done. Like the prose on this stuff is way elevated.
Yeah.
So not enough credit goes to Robert E. Howard for actually very poetic writing. And everybody attributes Conan with the 1980s Schwarzenegger stuff, and that's fun too. Don't get me wrong, but there's something beautiful about Robert E. Howard's prose. So I would recommend anybody goes and
Yeah.
read.
Here in Brazil, we got finally all the Howard stories published here, right? We got here to 5.
Oh no, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah, so that's all of them in one book, right?
no, we have 3 Conan books.
Okay.
We have then we got Solomon Kane, Bram McMore, and finally King Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to see my take on Bellet, I don't know if you've seen it. It's on my Instagram. I did draw a design of Bellet. So
Yeah,
yeah,
beautiful billet. And
that's what I would do with the future one.
so I want to see how we're going to show the part she conquer Conan. It's a
Oh
very
boy,
interesting part. Oh boy,
it must be
yeah.
very strategic if I wanted to be on YouTube.
Yeah, put the warriors in the back, cover,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. But and now I want to ask you, what's in the future for Conan?
yeah. Well, so that's it. Like my original thing was to do something for myself, but then I realized, yeah, there was a lot of interest, right? Like a lot of people liked this, reached a lot of views. So I asked the producer to check Annecy if he could try to pitch it to Netflix, Amazon. So he brought it around, and people were impressed. But then they got word that somebody big, I can't mention who, is already trying to do a Conan. So I'm just a little guy, right? I'm just a little
Yeah.
animator. So I can't. Sometimes I can't climb that mountain. But if it fails, if nothing comes out in the next year or two, I definitely will push with my version of Conan again to have a television series. So the plan is I would have about 3 episodes per story, 2 to 3 episodes per story to allow them to breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
So that would probably be about 45 minutes per story.
Yeah. If
Um,
I could right? The Elephant Tower,
yeah.
the Phoenix and the Sword,
Yes. No, they're
and
all in there, really.
and the God in the Ball,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they are reasonable, easy to animate it,
Yeah.
right? And not too
Yeah.
extensive. Like the Scarlet Citadel will be one of the greatest battles ever made in animation, right?
Yeah. And then you have stuff like Red Nails is actually a novella. So
Yeah.
that one would actually be maybe 4 or 5
Uh,
episodes.
the Hour on the Dragon will be what, 3 seasons?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if I stick just to Robert E. Howard, I have enough for about 3 seasons. So it's all planned out. So if
Yeah.
I ever have the chance to try again and try to push it at Netflix and stuff, because I have pitched to Netflix for other shows, so it's not alien to me. But I would like to bring Conan to the fan base and the public, because right now we have what? We have the Jason Momoa movie from just a few years ago. It's not really
Yeah.
movable that much. It
No.
wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger.
the part of Conan Kid was very nice,
Yeah,
but
that was,
after that, oh my God! And I like Jason Momoa. He's a nice
yeah,
Conan.
of
Yeah, but
course,
the
of
story
course.
was not.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
right now we don't have anything else. Like
No,
where are the
we don't. We get this rumor about Arnold for many years to be Conan
uh,
King and never
yeah,
happened, right? We got they try and make Red Nails. We have some
oh,
parts in
I
the,
remember.
yeah, but never go for further.
Yeah, I talked to the guy who did that, by the way, a very nice guy, but there were rights issues, and the guy who actually owns the rights, I think he might be German or Swedish or something.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy, and he's just trying to protect the Conan name. So it's not like there's animosity or anger. The guy is really nice. He just wants to make sure it's the best product ever, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he checked out. I saw that his name. He checked me out on LinkedIn. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
knows, he knows. But I think because somebody else, the bigger than me, is trying to get Conan done, that has to either get done or not get done, and then I can move in.
Yeah, I hope you get the opportunity to do your iteration of Conan, because we can see the passion you got on the project, right?
Thank you
So,
very much.
in this part, let's see, you got Conan, 4 or 5 seasons. You
Wow.
tell all the stories about
Yes.
Conan.
Yeah.
Then they tell you, Ellen, you can pick Bram McMore, Solomon Kane, King Cool, right?
Yeah.
Or we're going to do something a little more shady, more forgot, like the Shadow of the Buzzard is the original Red Sonja story, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or the excellent stories about Cormac is basically Conan in the Crusades. If you
Yeah.
can,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
well, let's
I'd
see.
have to go Solomon Kane. I'd have to go
Solomon
Solomon
Kane,
Kane.
yeah, and Solomon Kane. I noticed that it's the from Howard stories the most like in order, right?
Yes, the most cohesive one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like right, and
And
he's
it's more that pure sword and sorcery, which I'm just too much a fan of.
yeah, and the it's still today when I read the part about the voodoo ritual, it creeped me up, man.
Well, that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you go, ooh.
Yeah, yeah, and the old man keep coming back to talk to Solomon, right? It's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
interesting, and
yeah. Well, that's also why I do Lovecraft. I think Lovecraft deserves the same treatment because nobody's taking the exact stories, but the exact stories are really kind of creepy and
yeah,
freaking
yeah,
cool,
yeah,
man.
right.
Yeah,
The one about the body in the tree is very creepy, man.
yeah, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. That's the original horror, and I think that there's a lot of elements of horror in Conan as well.
Yeah, and after I read the Howard original works, I noticed that in the Arnold movie, the part of the witch, actually it's a Bram McMore part, not Conan.
Oh, okay.
The worms in the earth, the story, right?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
it
kind
is.
of mix stuff all over the place, eh?
Yeah, because when they climbed the tower, it's the elephant tower, right?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but when the snake is like they got in the ball.
Oh. Why did they do that? They should have taken the one story.
Well, the John Milos tell the story. The
Oh,
studio do not understand. He want make Conan like James Bond. He must come back like
yeah, yeah,
two,
yeah.
3 years, a new story. But they,
He tried.
yeah,
He
right,
tried. He did Red Sonja and then couldn't get the name Conan. So Conan, so Arnold Schwarzenegger shows up as some random love interest. I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
what is that?
Yeah, and was a very trouble thing because they shot Arnold scenes in many angles and edited. He did not know he was being so much parts in the movie.
Oh my
He
God.
sued was a legal thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
was a mess. It was
yeah,
a big mess. But we should look past that. We try to look past it and get down to the stories again and
yeah.
try to tell them because they're wonderful stories that everybody would love to hear, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah, for sure. So, man, and we got getting the part of the show that I ask you. So, if we forgot something you wish to say,
oh well, yeah, if anyone's interested in animation itself, there's my 52 tips book for sure, but I'm writing a new one. So I'm writing
53 tips.
50, no, no, no. It's 52 basic tips for
Yeah,
animation. So it goes more fundamental, so anybody who's learning animation can know the basic principles. So keep an eye out for that. And also, I want to thank you for having me on because we're
yeah,
both really into the same things, and it's
yeah,
really a pleasure.
yeah. So we got into part of the show that I call Momento Carini. It's called Carini moment when you send a message to the universe.
Oh, let traditional animation become a part of the public perception again.
Yeah,
I think I think that would be what I would want to send out there because I think I'm not alone. And every time I see somebody do traditional animation, there's a huge crowd of people that love it and they want to see it. So I think let's bring that back in a big way.
very well. Well, Ellen, thank you for this conversation, for the interview. And it is my first full interview in English, so guys, sorry.
Amazing.
So sorry.
And I say obrigado to you.
Oh, de nada. You're welcome. So,
Yeah.
guys, thank you for the time, for the attention. That's another episode of the Adventures Lair. We see you in the next. Bye.
Bye.